a lot of our viewers and your customers are like, "Where have you been? We want to see you." So this is a great way for you to see them and kind of learn a little bit about your journey.
Sure, I'm happy to
Perfect.
tell it. I miss everybody. We're doing everything we can to try to keep everybody engaged like you are. So yeah, let's get
Mhm.
something going here.
Perfect. All right, so I'm just going to dive right in. You got into the fitness industry right out the gate. I mean, what made you want to get into fitness so early? I mean, you kind of peaked in the boom of the fitness era, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, it's been a long, long journey. I actually was one of those starving college kids that was trying to figure out how I could make money. And there was a opportunity in personal training, and I don't want to say how long ago this was, but it was in the early 90s. So that's when personal training was just starting to be popular on the East Coast. It usually started on the West Coast. Most fitness starts on the West Coast and comes all the way across to the East Coast.
Mhm.
So personal training was something that wasn't really done in the early 90s. So I put an ad in my local paper in Philadelphia and started going to people's homes and really give them exactly what I think they needed in a personalized way. And I had a clientele of about 40 people at 3 times a week. I mean, it was absolutely insane. And I was trying to go to graduate school at the same time. So I did pretty well for a college student, graduate student, but it also almost killed me. But it really taught me what people need to get them motivated and what they wanted, in an in-home type of scenario. What were people's goals? Why didn't people work out? What did I have to do to motivate them to get them to train?
Mhm. So was that where the idea of FitNation came from? Was this desire and passion for you to do that?
FitNation actually, it eventually became FitNation, but I had to go through the whole gamut of what you could do in fitness to make a living and try to be successful. So from going to people's homes in Philadelphia, I go to so many people's homes, and every once in a while on my way to their homes on my bike, I'd wipe out and break an arm or sprain a shoulder. So then I was out for like a couple weeks or a month, and my clients would say, "Oh, what are we going to do? We got to get you a place." So it's a good way to actually start to seek investors to open a personal training studio. So I opened up a lot of personal training studios on the main line in Philadelphia, and eventually opened up
Mhm.
larger gyms. One of the first big gyms I opened was Sweat. To the day, there's still 12 of them. So opening up the gyms and sitting in the gyms and waiting for people to join was great and challenging, but it wasn't the end all goal for me because it kind of got a little redundant. I kind of liked setting them up, starting thinking about the concept and, like getting people to go. Then once they were in, I wanted to move on to something else. So eventually I started to try to
Mhm.
reach a broader audience. And that was through selling fitness equipment to a mass market on television. So that's where
Mm.
FitNation was really of and developed and invented.
Oh, that's amazing. And then, of course, you brought it to QVC, which actually helped you really leverage that across so many homes. And so what made you want to come to QVC besides of the length of space that you could get for putting your product out there? Why QVC?
Because I think that direct retail television is the most ingenious way to sell anything to anybody because they get the experience of seeing the product explained by an inventor, by an expert, by a brand ambassador. Time for the audience and the product, see it demoed. I always explain it like this. If you and I were in business and we created catcher's mitts and we distributed them
Mhm.
in a top selling sporting goods store, right, across the country, let's say there were 600 sporting goods stores that sold our catcher's mitt. How many catcher's mitts do you think
Okay.
we would sell at the busy time of a week, like Saturday afternoons at 1 p.m.? 600 stores, let's say we have 5 units in each store. I bet you that on a good day, we'd sell like 40 catcher's mitts from 1 o'clock in the afternoon to 1:10 that afternoon for 10 minutes, 600
Right.
stores. How many catcher's mitts are we going to sell when they're just sitting there, on a display rack? 40. But with direct
Right.
retail television, where we have that time to explain that product in 10 minutes, demo it, talk about it, and it's a massive audience, we're going to sell maybe 1,200, 1,500, 1,800 units. And that's what QVC
Mm-hmm.
gives the person who has invented the brand or who distributes the brand the opportunity to do, right?
Mm-hmm. It does. I mean, it really takes that entrepreneur and builds them. I mean, you were able to really build your brand and leverage it and then probably create new products. How many products do you think you've created since you've been partnered with
I
QVC?
think we've probably, yes, yes, we've probably created 18 to 20 products that have been pretty successful, on air. And again, it's interesting because QVC is a little bit of an old demographic, and it's good and bad, because these people aren't, the I'm not going to mention the brand, but the bike that's selling on TV right now that we all see that starts with a P, that's a younger demo, and those people love working out. It's part of their life. The demographic that QVC
Right.
provides is an older audience that knows they need to start to exercise, but it's not their most favorite thing to do all the time. So when you sell fitness products to
Mm-hmm.
them, it's a whole different way and method to sell it to them. They have to feel comfortable. They have to know it's result oriented. It has to be easy to use. So you have to create these products and find these
Mm-hmm.
products that demographic.
Definitely. I think that says a lot because you really have to listen to your customer, which is what you've been doing as an entrepreneur. So, as far
Yes.
as when you think about entrepreneurs, you always hear they had to fail. They had to fail often. What is a
Yes.
failure that you experienced that really motivated you to push forward, to persevere, or maybe to do things that were a little out of the box?
Yeah. I wouldn't call it a failure. I would call it an experience that taught me where I really needed to be in my life when it comes to being successful in my career that I loved. I was in fitness for 20 years, and then I moved to New York, and I started a business where I became one of the nation's top matchmakers, which is a
Hmm.
switch, right? So I wanted to try to
A
help
hundred
people.
percent.
Yes, I wanted to try to help people on a whole different level, right? So I was helping them look good, I was helping them feel good, but I wanted even more of a challenge.
Hmm.
Maybe I could help them emotionally with their love life and find the best significant other for them. And I found that business too many variables that I could not control. So if I harder, I would
Hmm.
necessarily mean successful. When you really want work to equal success, but in such businesses where there's so many variables, I could work really super hard and I might not be successful. And that was because the variables that would make me unsuccessful were completely out of my control. So I found that, because
Hmm.
it was the currency of love and the currency of emotion, it was much more difficult to deal with and be successful with. I worked with women, New York City women from the ages of 30 to 60, trying to find them love in Manhattan. Now, if that's not a daunting task, I don't even know what would. Right.
Very daunting, I would have to say, considering I was a New York woman in that age group and I was single while I was there. Very
Right.
hard thing to do.
It's very challenging
Now,
because
you continue with the challenge, yes.
yeah, okay. So it was challenging because the landscape was so unfavorable to women, the dating landscape, because there were 250,000 more single women than single men on the island of Manhattan. So that made men kind of like be able to pick and choose. And if they found that a woman they were dating wasn't exactly what they wanted, they knew that there was one right around the corner that would be. So women became important to them. So it just became a very difficult way to date if you're a woman, just because the sheer numbers of men and women in Manhattan. So that's hard to deal with. That's something that I can't control. That is a very awful variable to deal with. So that's a business that you don't want to choose to be in, right? You got to learn.
I would say so. That's true. I don't know if I could be in that business. It takes a very special person to do that. One very talented with being able to connect with people, I would have to say.
Yes, exactly. So, that's made me go right back to fitness. But I gave it my all, was in it for 10 years, wrote 2 best-selling books in that business for women, how men think. Why hasn't he called? And why hasn't he proposed? So, I had a television show on Lifetime for 3 years, and it gave me a lot back, but it also taught me that it really wasn't what I was really super good at, what I really loved to do, and what I wanted to stay in for a long time.
So that's interesting. And that kind of segues us into the next question, which is how do you tell someone who maybe you start off in one area as an entrepreneur and then you start to realize and dabble in these talents and passions? How do you decide, one, I'm going to venture out and try this new thing? Or should I stay in one path and stay on one avenue? Like, how do you explain to someone what they could do to decide where to take those chances and risks and how you don't have to check one box?
I think a lot of peripheral businesses that you discover through your core business are very important. I think that
Mhm.
that passion and enjoyment are 2 very important things that you really have to have in your A business life. If you don't have them, then ultimately your performance is going to lack, and you're going to crash, and you're not going to be happy. Remember, as important as working is to me and to real true entrepreneurs and your career is, it's still every single day of your life for 10 hours a day or more. So if you're not enjoying it, even though
Right.
you're making a real lot of money, you really have to think about it, because it's your life. Life is much important than work. So you have to combine the 2, and you need to learn to jump without nets, because if you're a true entrepreneur, you
Mm,
said failure is super important, and you're going to land, and there's not going to be a net, and you're going to hurt for a little bit, but you're going to get up and you're going to start something else. And I take that risk to be happy than to be miserable making a lot of money. I have. I have been able
mhm.
to I've been on people's couches at an age I really don't want to admit. I've taken a big risk. And I've also been able to buy a home in Manhattan that a lot of people couldn't, because I took another risk, right? So I've been way,
Mhm.
way, and I've been way, way up, and I wouldn't change that for the world.
I think that definitely goes back to perspective. And I think that you're probably speaking to a lot of people right now, especially those who are having those ebbs and flows. I mean, we're at a time right now where there's a lot of boundaries placed on entrepreneurs on what they can and cannot do. And so as a brand and a business, what are you doing with those boundaries? Because obviously we're in our homes right now. So how are you able to be creative? Do you have hopes that are you're thinking about for the future, whether it's with your brand or personally? What are you doing with this time?
I'm trying to adapt to the current situation. Everything has to be right now an adaptation, keeping the momentum and keeping the success moving. We're I just
Mhm.
was filming a minute and a half video because I can't be there at QVC to try to make sure my product is
Right.
highlighted correctly this coming Saturday. And I love you. You guys, you host your, but without the guests and without the person that created it, there's something lost. So I'm sitting here watching you guys bust your butt trying to do your best with my product that I have to put in your hands right now and not be there. And it's fine. And if the points aren't addressed correctly, it has nothing to do with you. This is a situation. So I'm trying to ensure that my sales and my products are displayed the best they can. So talking to a big wig at QVC, making sure that I can do a in-home minute and a half video to ensure that you guys get what I'm trying to say is an adaptation to this current situation to keep the success moving. That's what people should be functioning on, keeping their core business moving and adapting it to the current environment.
Definitely. I think hinging is a good word choice as well. And then, of course, trust, because just like you said, you're having to trust other people to help you, especially during this time. And I think that that's a really good takeaway. Maybe for entrepreneurs to say, okay, look, how much can I do? And then I have to just trust and say, I built it, I created it, and then push it forward and hope that it sales, right? I mean, that's what we're kind of given our circumstances.
Yes, you have to adapt to your circumstances, especially right now, and do your best. I mean,
Hmm.
it's also, it's a hard time. I am a guy that wakes up in the morning at 8 a.m., leaves the house at 9, and no one sees me until 7 p.m. Nobody sees me. Now that has been completely changed. I am here all day long. I don't stay in any one place at any for more than an hour and a half. So that can interfere with your business thought process. And you can't let it. You got to keep as close to what you've done before everything happened as possible. I'll go out for 3 hours and just walk in the park, not near anybody, following guidelines,
Yeah.
But it's still close to what I used to do on a daily basis, kind of.
Hmm. Well, and that's true. Definitely staying close to our companies and the things that we can do to help support them and bring them to fruition, but also getting out. I think that's a really good thing to remind people that, like, you can still get out to an extent, figure out how to do it. So you have, obviously, FitNation has a couple of products at QVC. Do you have anything coming up for us to be interested in that maybe we haven't seen in a while or that is new and exciting?
Yes, I have something called the body cycle, which is it's a fitness, it's an exercise piece of exercise equipment that actually will adapt to any seat that you're sitting on, and you'll be able to pedal, and you'll also be able to use your arms in a pedaling motion at the same time or independent of one another. It will go to
Okay.
it'll fit anybody's seat, and it folds down so it can also go to a desk. It's really cool. So it's basically, a pedaling system for your feet and your hands that will fold into any chair that you pedal it. The frame will be different colors. So if you're 80 to 80 RPMs, the frame will be green. If you go 80 to 100 RPMs, it turns yellow, and then over 100, it turns red. So we're trying to incent people as well during the time with some visual stimulus that's really cool.
Oh, gamification. I'm all about that. That's awesome. Fantastic. Well, how can we follow the brand and kind of keep up with your journey? Are there places we can find you at?
We created the brand exclusively for QVC, and I want everyone to go to QVC to look at everything that we've done, because QVC has been so great for us to develop the. Go to QVC, go to FitNation, and just look at all our products. And again, they were developed for in-home use. This is no better time than to use in-home fitness products.
It's true. I'm exploring new in-home fitness products because we are here in the boundaries of our home. All right, Matt, do you have any other last words you'd like to share with any entrepreneurs or maybe your customers or any viewers who are watching right now?
Yeah, I just want everybody to try to live their lives as close to normal as they could. I think that fitness is incredibly important during this time. You know, it changes our perspective, it releases endorphins, getting our heart rate up, you know, follow the rules as to what we're supposed to do, but you know, you gotta do what you need to do to feel good. You need to move, you need to get outside, wear your mask, go outside, walk around the block a couple times, buy a piece of in-home equipment that best suits you, whether that's, you know, a bike or a treadmill, something that's non-impact. You got to do it now because we're all going to go crazy just sitting at home watching TV. I mean, we got to figure something out. I'm asking everyone to do that for health. Don't even buy my products. It doesn't matter to me. Get
Oh,
out, start doing something that's physical rather than just sitting there vegetating and becoming depressed because we're all busy.
definitely. Thank you so much for that advice. And thank you for spending time with us here on Courtside. We appreciate it. And of course, we will go look at FitNation at QVC.com to see, and then we will await your new product that you're just talking about.
You're awesome, Courtney. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Love the
Thank
show.
you. Thanks. Have a good one and stay safe.
Take care. Bye-bye.